story of the Hebrews' flight from Egypt, how God delivered them from Pharaoh's army at the Red Sea crossing and led them to Mount Sinai, where he gave Moses the 10 Commandments. Biblical scholars have argued for years about the location of these holy sites.
They said it was just a legend. They were wrong. When archaeologists drilled into the sealed vault beneath Mount Sinai, their equipment suddenly malfunctioned. Strange readings, unexplained energy. Then the camera feed came back online. What they saw made them freeze in absolute shock. Ancient gold gleaming in the darkness. Mysterious objects that shouldn't exist. And something at the center that scientists still can't explain.
Actually started, Chris, 20 years ago. May 15th, I was in Saudi Arabia in 2003, and I have been pursuing, investigating the Exodus, as you know, for a long time, and we're excited it's going to be in theaters on May 15th, 2023.
The footage leaked worldwide within hours. Governments tried to cover it up, but it's too late. You need to see this before it's taken down. For thousands of years, Mount Sinai has stood as one of the most mysterious and sacred places on Earth. Rising from the harsh desert landscape of Egypt's Sinai Peninsula, this mountain has captured the imagination of believers, scholars, and adventurers alike. It is far more than just a geological formation. To millions of people across different faiths, it represents a direct connection between the human world and the divine. The very mention of its name brings to mind images of ancient prophets, divine revelation, and secrets that have endured through millennia. The story of Mount Sinai is deeply rooted in religious tradition. According to the Bible, this is the place where Moses ascended alone to meet with God and receive the 10 Commandments. The book of Exodus describes how the mountain was covered in thick smoke and shook with thunder as Moses climbed its slopes. When he returned, he carried 2 stone tablets inscribed with laws that would shape the moral foundation of Western civilization. This single event transformed Mount Sinai from an ordinary mountain into one of the most significant religious sites in human history. The importance of Mount Sinai extends across multiple faiths. In Jewish tradition, it marks the birthplace of divine law and the moment when the covenant between God and the people of Israel was established. For Christians, the mountain represents God's power and his willingness to communicate directly with humanity. In Islamic tradition, Mount Sinai is honored as the place where the prophet Musa, known in the West as Moses, received divine guidance from Allah. This shared reverence has made the mountain a rare point of unity among the Abrahamic religions, drawing pilgrims from around the world who seek to walk in the footsteps of ancient prophets. The physical landscape surrounding Mount Sinai adds another layer to its mystique. The mountain sits within the rugged terrain of the Sinai Peninsula, positioned between the Gulf of Suez to the west and the Gulf of Aqaba to the east. The surrounding area consists of jagged peaks, deep valleys, and vast stretches of barren desert. The climate is extreme, with temperatures soaring during the day and plummeting at night. The journey to the summit is challenging, requiring stamina and determination. This harsh environment has helped preserve the mountain's sense of isolation and timelessness, making it feel removed from the modern world. At the base of Mount Sinai stands St. Catherine's Monastery, one of the oldest continuously operating Christian monasteries in the world. Built in the 6th century under the orders of Byzantine Emperor Justinian, the monastery has served as a sanctuary for monks, pilgrims, and scholars for over 1,400 years. Its thick stone walls enclose a treasure trove of ancient manuscripts, religious icons, and artifacts. Among its most famous possessions is what believers claim to be the burning bush that appeared to Moses, still alive and growing within the monastery grounds. Over the centuries, St. Catherine's has become not just a place of worship, but also a center for preserving knowledge and history. The legends surrounding Mount Sinai are as old as recorded history itself. Ancient travelers who ventured to the mountain reported strange phenomena that defied easy explanation. Some describe seeing mysterious lights appearing near the peak during the night, glowing softly before vanishing into the darkness. Others claim to hear voices carried on the desert wind, or witness flashes of light that seem to come from nowhere. These experiences were often interpreted as signs of divine presence, proof that the mountain remained touched by something beyond ordinary human understanding. Stories of hidden relics and secret chambers have circulated for centuries. According to some traditions, after Moses descended from the mountain with the tablets, sacred objects were hidden away in secret locations to protect them from those who might seek to destroy or misuse them. Over time, these stories grew to include tales of the Ark of the Covenant, the legendary golden chest said to contain the original stone tablets, being concealed somewhere within the mountain's depths. Local Bedouin tribes, who have lived in the region for generations, pass down their own stories of forbidden caves, echoing tunnels, and treasures guarded by ancient spirits. They warn that anyone who disturbed these sacred places without proper respect would face dire consequences. During the 18th and 19th centuries, European explorers and scholars became increasingly interested in Mount Sinai. Driven by a desire to find physical evidence that could confirm biblical accounts, they made the difficult journey across the desert to study the mountain. The harsh conditions made their work extremely challenging, but their curiosity pushed them forward. These early researchers created detailed maps, collected rock samples, and documented unusual features they encountered. Some reported finding markings on stone surfaces that resembled carved symbols or writing in unknown scripts. Others noted what appeared to be sealed doorways or passages that seemed too regular to be natural formations. However, the technology available at the time was limited. Without modern surveying equipment or dating methods, many of their findings were dismissed by skeptics as nothing more than natural geological features shaped by wind and erosion. Despite this, the notes, sketches, and photographs these pioneers left behind have been preserved in archives and museums. These historical records continue to fascinate researchers today, offering tantalizing hints that there may be more to discover beneath the mountain's surface. Even with all the advances in modern archaeology and geology, many questions about Mount Sinai remain unanswered. Scholars and scientists continue to debate the exact location of the biblical events and what might lie hidden beneath the mountain. Some researchers have suggested that the traditional identification of Mount Sinai might not be correct, proposing alternative locations based on geographical and historical analysis. Others remain convinced that the traditional site is accurate and that its depths hold secrets waiting to be revealed. In recent decades, whispers have emerged about a discovery made many years ago, but never fully investigated. According to some accounts, during a geological survey conducted several decades back, researchers stumbled upon what appeared to be a sealed underground structure deep beneath Mount Sinai. The discovery was reportedly documented in official reports and photographs, but for various reasons, no further examination was conducted. The structure remained sealed, its existence known only to a small number of people who had access to those forgotten records. The reasons for not pursuing this discovery further are complex. Political tensions in the region, religious sensitivities about disturbing a sacred site, and lack of funding all played a role. Additionally, many religious authorities expressed concern that excavation might be seen as disrespectful or could potentially damage the spiritual significance of the mountain. As a result, the information about this underground structure was filed away and largely forgotten by the wider world. Yet among certain circles of researchers and enthusiasts, the story refused to die. Some believe that this sealed structure could be a natural cave system formed by geological processes. Others speculated it might be an ancient burial site or temple created by civilizations that inhabited the region thousands of years ago. The most ambitious theories suggested it could be something even more extraordinary, perhaps a chamber deliberately constructed to preserve items of immense historical or religious importance. What makes this mystery particularly compelling is the convergence of ancient legends, religious texts, and modern scientific hints, all pointing toward the same conclusion that something significant lies beneath Mount Sinai. The mountain has stood silent for millennia, keeping its secrets locked away from human eyes. But with each passing year, technology improves and our ability to peer beneath the surface without causing damage becomes more sophisticated. The question that has haunted explorers, scholars, and believers for generations remains as relevant today as ever. What lies hidden in the depths of this sacred mountain? And what might it reveal about our past? Long before modern scientists arrived at Mount Sinai, with their advanced equipment and technological tools, the desert itself had been telling stories. For generations, the people who lived in the shadow of the mountain had witnessed things that could not easily be explained. To the Bedouin tribes who had wandered these lands for centuries, Mount Sinai was not simply a place mentioned in religious texts. It was a living presence, a keeper of mysteries that seemed too profound for ordinary understanding. Around desert fires at night, the Bedouins shared stories passed down through countless generations. They spoke of strange lights that would occasionally appear near the mountain after darkness fell. These lights were described as soft and bluish in color, dancing briefly in the air before disappearing without a trace. The phenomenon never occurred in the same location twice, as if the mountain deliberately moved its secrets to different places to keep them hidden. Some believe these lights were angels standing guard over something sacred. Others thought they might be spirits protecting whatever lay buried deep within the mountain's stone heart. Whatever their true nature, these sightings were consistent enough that they became woven into the fabric of local tradition. During the Byzantine period, monks living at St. Catherine's Monastery made a discovery that would intrigue scholars for centuries to come. While organizing the monastery's collection of ancient texts, they found a set of old scrolls sealed inside clay jars. When these scrolls were carefully opened and examined, the monks found writings that mixed several different ancient languages. Hebrew, Aramaic, and Proto-Sinaitic scripts appeared together on the same documents. Most of the content consisted of familiar prayers and psalms that the monks recognized. However, one scroll stood out as different from the others. This particular scroll described a chamber that had not been built by human hands through ordinary labor. Instead, the text claimed it had been created by divine command. The scroll stated that this hidden chamber lay beneath the very mountain where Moses had received the sacred laws from God. The monks who read this text were deeply troubled by what they found. Some worried that the scroll might be heretical or blasphemous. Rather than risk spreading what they feared might be dangerous ideas, they decided to seal the scroll once again and hide it deep within the monastery's walls. As time passed and those monks died, new generations arrived who knew nothing of the hidden scroll. Its existence faded from active memory, becoming one more forgotten secret among many. Centuries later, around the 12th century, new stories began to emerge from tribes who camped near the base of Mount Sinai. People reported hearing unusual sounds coming from beneath the ground during the quiet hours of the night. These were not the familiar sounds of thunder or earthquakes. Instead, they were described as deep, rhythmic, and steady, almost like the breathing of some enormous sleeping creature. The sounds were powerful enough to be felt as much as heard. One particularly brave individual decided to investigate the source of these mysterious sounds. He began digging in the area where the noise seemed strongest, hoping to uncover what lay beneath. However, his tools suddenly shattered when they struck something solid and smooth below the sand. The man was so frightened by this experience that he immediately stopped digging and fled. The location where this occurred was given a name by the locals. They called it Maktab al-Nur, which translates to the passage of light. After that incident, no one attempted to dig in that spot again. Those few who did try in later years either vanished completely or returned in confused mental states, speaking in words and phrases that made no sense to anyone who heard them. In the year 1693, an Italian explorer named Matteo di Rossi traveled to the Sinai Peninsula while tracing ancient pilgrimage routes that had been largely forgotten. During his time in the region, he traded goods with a group of nomadic people who gave him a fragment of what appeared to be an old copper plate. The metal piece had been engraved with lines and geometric shapes that seemed to represent the terrain of the mountain and the surrounding area. When Di Rossi returned to Rome and showed the plate to scholars, they made an interesting observation. The engravings included what looked like a hollow spiral pattern that descended beneath the mountain's surface in perfect geometric symmetry. The spiral was clearly not a natural formation. Its precision and regularity suggested deliberate design and planning. Some scholars interpreted the pattern symbolically, believing it represented the spiritual journey of the soul toward enlightenment. Others took a more literal view, suggesting that the engraving might be a map showing the location of an actual underground passage. Unfortunately, the copper plate itself later disappeared from the archives in Rome under mysterious circumstances. However, detailed notes and drawings describing the plate survived, leaving behind evidence of something that could not be easily dismissed or explained away. Over the following centuries, the legends surrounding Mount Sinai continued to grow and evolve. Scholars, explorers, and those interested in mystical traditions each developed their own theories about what the mountain might conceal. Some proposed that the mountain was the remnant of an ancient meteorite impact, suggesting that something from the heavens had struck the earth at that location in the distant past. Others noticed unusual magnetic phenomena in the area surrounding the mountain. Compasses would spin erratically, electronic instruments would malfunction without apparent cause, and communication signals would fail unexpectedly. Scientists who studied these effects suggested they might be caused by natural deposits of magnetic minerals in the rock. However, no single explanation could account for all the observed anomalies. Those with mystical inclinations went even further in their speculations. They believed that Mount Sinai stood on one of the world's most ancient energy centers, a place where the boundary between the spiritual and physical realms was unusually thin. According to this view, the rumored vault beneath the mountain was not simply a storage place for ancient artifacts. Instead, it was a gateway that had been deliberately sealed until humanity reached a level of spiritual development sufficient to handle whatever divine truth it contained. The monks at St. Catherine's Monastery appeared to harbor secrets of their own. In the late 19th century, when European scholars visited the monastery to study its extensive collection of ancient manuscripts, they noticed something curious about the behavior of the older monks. Whenever questions arose about what might exist in the depths beneath the mountain, conversations would abruptly stop. The monks would quickly walk away, muttering short prayers under their breath. On one occasion, when a visitor asked directly whether there were tunnels running beneath the monastery, an elderly monk responded with a single chilling statement. He said simply, "The mountain keeps what the mountain swallows," and refused to elaborate further. No official maps showed any such tunnels, but careful observers noticed faint signs of ancient stonework near the back of the monastery's courtyard. These carvings appeared to lead in the direction of the mountain. Whatever these marks once indicated, they had been deliberately erased or covered over at some point in the past. In the year 1927, an unusually violent storm swept through the region. Lightning struck the northern slope of Mount Sinai with tremendous force, breaking apart a large section of rock and exposing what had been hidden beneath. When local people inspected the area after the storm had passed, they discovered strange markings carved into the newly exposed stone surface. The carving depicted two serpents wrapped around a circle. Some interpreted this as a symbol of duality, representing the relationship between heaven and earth. Others believed it marked the entrance to a place that was meant to remain hidden and undisturbed. Before anyone could conduct a thorough study of these markings, another storm arrived and covered the area once more with fallen rocks and sand. Only a few black and white photographs of the carving survived as evidence of what had briefly been revealed. Those images became silent testimony to the possibility that something beneath the mountain had been intentionally sealed away. Decades later, geologists studying the desert made additional curious findings. The magnetic readings from Mount Sinai were inconsistent with what would be expected from normal geological formations. Scientific instruments would suddenly go silent or produce nonsensical data whenever they approached certain specific areas. One scientist recorded steady vibrations coming from deep underground that repeated every few seconds in a regular pattern, almost like a pulse or heartbeat. It was as if the mountain itself were somehow alive. The local people were not surprised by these scientific findings. They simply repeated what their ancestors had always said. "The mountain lives," they would state matter-of-factly. They warned that machines and modern technology did not belong in such a place. Most researchers dismissed these warnings as superstition, But for those willing to listen carefully, each new discovery only deepened the mystery rather than solving it. For many years, Mount Sinai was considered a sacred site that should remain untouched and undisturbed. Religious authorities and local communities alike believed that the mountain's holiness required it to be left exactly as it had always been. However, as technology advanced throughout the 20th century, scientists discovered new methods that allowed them to examine what lay beneath the surface without the need for invasive digging or drilling. These new techniques opened up possibilities that had never existed before. Using satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar systems, researchers could now look deep into the earth and create detailed maps of underground structures, while leaving the mountain itself completely intact. The initial scanning results were surprising to everyone involved. High-resolution imaging revealed unusual shapes buried far beneath the rocky layers of Mount Sinai. Among these anomalies was a large rectangular space that appeared far too regular and precise to be a natural formation. The edges were straight, the angles were consistent, and the proportions suggested deliberate design rather than random geological processes. When scientists created three-dimensional maps of this void, they discovered it extended for dozens of meters in multiple directions. The size and shape strongly suggested the presence of a constructed chamber or vault that had been sealed away beneath the mountain for an unknown length of time. This discovery immediately sparked excitement among archaeologists and historians around the world. The possibility that a man-made structure might exist beneath one of the most sacred mountains in religious history was too significant to ignore. Religious scholars began speculating about what the hidden space might contain. Some believed it could hold ancient Hebrew relics that had been carefully preserved since biblical times. Others wondered if it might be the final resting place of the original stone tablets that Moses had carried down from the mountain. The most ambitious theories suggested that the Ark of the Covenant itself might be hidden there, carefully concealed to protect it from destruction during times of war and conquest. Not everyone shared this enthusiasm or agreed with these interpretations. Skeptical scientists warned against jumping to conclusions based on limited evidence. They pointed out that rectangular voids can sometimes be created by natural geological forces, such as erosion, crystallization, or tectonic activity. These skeptics argued that without physical evidence, it was premature to make grand claims about ancient religious artifacts. The scientific method, they insisted, required careful verification before any conclusions could be drawn. Meanwhile, fringe theorists proposed even more unconventional explanations. Some suggested the chamber might belong to a previously unknown ancient civilization that had possessed advanced engineering knowledge. A few even speculated about possible connections to visitors from beyond Earth, though such theories were generally dismissed by mainstream researchers. Despite the controversy, archaeological work continued on the surface near the base of Mount Sinai. Teams carefully excavated the upper layers of soil and rock, hoping to find clues about who might have visited or inhabited the area in ancient times. Their patience was rewarded with several interesting discoveries. Pieces of broken pottery, copper tools, and carved stones were uncovered at various depths. What made these finds particularly intriguing was that they did not all come from the same historical period. Instead, the artifacts represented many different time periods spanning thousands of years. This suggested that Mount Sinai had been a site of human activity and pilgrimage for far longer than previously documented. Some of the carved stones displayed strange symbols that experts could not immediately identify. The markings did not match any known writing system or decorative style from the region. When samples of organic material found alongside these artifacts were sent to laboratories for radiocarbon dating, the results created even more confusion. Several items appeared to be several thousand years older than the earliest known settlements in the Sinai Peninsula. This finding did not fit with the established timeline of human habitation in the area. The unexpected dates led many researchers to question whether the history of the region was much older and more complex than anyone had previously believed. Despite the growing evidence and increasing scientific interest, progress on further exploration was frustratingly slow. The site became the center of complicated political and religious disputes that made it difficult to move forward. Local authorities, tribal leaders who considered the land part of their ancestral territory, and religious figures from multiple faiths all claimed some degree of authority over the mountain and what might be discovered there. Arguments arose over who had the right to make decisions about excavation. Many people feared that digging beneath Mount Sinai could bring misfortune or even divine punishment. Religious groups worried that disturbing the site might be an act of disrespect that would anger God or damage the spiritual significance of the mountain. For decades, these disagreements kept serious archaeological research effectively on hold. However, new evidence eventually emerged that reignited international interest in the site. Leaked photographs from an old geological survey conducted years earlier began circulating among researchers. These images showed what appeared to be a massive stone doorway, sealed beneath heavy layers of rock and earth. The doorway had been shaped with remarkable precision, featuring straight edges and smooth surfaces that were completely unlike anything that could be formed by natural erosion or weathering. The existence of what appeared to be a deliberately constructed entrance suggested that someone in the distant past had built a structure beneath the mountain and then carefully sealed it. This revelation spread quickly through academic circles around the world. Scientists who had been skeptical about the underground void now had to reconsider their positions. The photographic evidence of a carved doorway made it much harder to argue that the rectangular space was simply a natural geological feature. Researchers began to suspect more strongly that beneath Mount Sinai lay a genuine man-made vault that had remained untouched since ancient times. The implications were staggering. If such a structure truly existed and could be explored, it might contain artifacts, documents, or other evidence that could reshape our understanding of ancient history and religious tradition. Rumors began circulating through universities and research institutions. Some scholars believed the structure might be connected to the earliest forms of organized worship practiced by ancient peoples. Others thought it could contain historical records or documents that had been lost to time, perhaps including texts that could provide new insights into the beliefs and practices of ancient civilizations. Several governments quietly began providing funding for additional research, hoping to be associated with what could become one of the most important archaeological discoveries in modern history. Teams of scientists used increasingly sophisticated imaging systems and laser scanning technology to gather more detailed data about the underground structure. Every new scan and every additional image seemed to confirm that something artificial existed deep within the mountain, built with a level of precision that demonstrated advanced planning and construction techniques. Finally, after many years of debate, planning, and careful preparation, an international group of archaeologists made a formal announcement. They declared their intention to study the sealed chamber directly using advanced robotic technology and remote-controlled equipment. The plan was designed to explore the space without causing any damage to its contents or structure. Scientists from more than a dozen countries agreed to work together, pooling their expertise and resources. The team included Egyptologists who understood the history and culture of the region, biblical historians who could interpret religious texts and symbolism, geologists who could analyze the rock formations, engineers who could design the exploration equipment, and archaeologists trained in handling delicate ancient artifacts. The international cooperation represented something rare in the often competitive world of archaeological research. Everyone involved understood that they were on the verge of potentially uncovering something that had been hidden for thousands of years. The mystery beneath Mount Sinai had captured human imagination for generations through legends, religious texts, and fragmentary evidence. Now, for the first time in history, modern technology and scientific methods would allow researchers to discover the truth. The stage was set for one of the most ambitious archaeological expeditions ever attempted. The world watched and waited to see what secrets the sacred mountain would finally reveal. The world held its breath as one of the most ambitious archaeological missions in modern history finally began. After years of heated debate, careful planning, and painstaking preparation, an international team of experts gathered at the base of Mount Sinai. The group brought together more than 10 nations, with specialists from diverse fields working side by side. Egyptologists, biblical historians, geologists, engineers, and archaeologists all united with a single shared purpose. They were determined to uncover what lay hidden beneath one of the most sacred mountains on Earth. The operation had been carefully designed from the start to protect the integrity of the site. Traditional digging tools that might damage fragile artifacts were strictly forbidden. Instead, the team relied entirely on non-invasive technology. They used laser scanners to map the underground spaces, pressure sensors to detect structural weaknesses, robotic arms that could manipulate objects with precision, and remote-controlled cameras that could venture into spaces too dangerous or delicate for human entry. Every single move had to be reviewed and approved by a joint committee consisting of historians and scientists. The temporary camp established at the mountain's base looked more like a high-tech research facility than a traditional archaeological dig site. Tents filled with computers and monitoring screens displayed constant live feeds of imaging data from beneath the ground. After weeks of meticulous scanning and mapping, the physical excavation work finally commenced. The team proceeded with extreme caution, removing sand and stone in thin, careful layers around the sealed rock formation that had been identified in earlier surveys. The ground proved incredibly difficult to work with, baked hard by thousands of years of intense desert sun. Each piece of stone removed from the site was carefully cataloged, photographed from multiple angles, and set aside for potential future study. Progress was slow and methodical, but the team knew that rushing could destroy irreplaceable evidence. Then, after many days of patient labor, the first major breakthrough occurred. A carved doorway emerged from beneath the layers of solid rock that had buried it. The doorway was massive in scale, hewn from a single enormous block of sandstone. Its surface was covered in symbols and inscriptions that immediately drew intense attention from the linguistic experts on the team. The carvings displayed both Hebrew characters and Proto-Sinaitic script, two writing systems that had been used thousands of years apart from each other. The presence of both languages together was highly unusual and raised immediate questions about when and why the doorway had been created. Scholars at the site began the slow process of decoding the inscriptions, working under bright portable lamps that illuminated every carved line and symbol. As they gradually pieced together the meaning of the ancient text, what they discovered sent chills through the entire camp. The messages spoke of fire descending from above, of divine law being given to humanity, and of guardians who watched over what lay beneath the mountain. The tone of the inscriptions seemed to be a warning, telling anyone who approached that the chamber below was not meant to be disturbed lightly. The discovery created a mixture of excitement and apprehension among the team members. Nevertheless, the decision was made to continue. The area surrounding the doorway was scanned repeatedly using electromagnetic sensors to verify what lay beyond the sealed entrance. The readings confirmed what earlier data had suggested. A large hollow structure existed behind the stone door, a space that had been completely sealed off from the outside world. Yet the work remained far from easy. The harsh desert environment constantly tested every piece of equipment the team had brought. Sandstorms would sweep through the camp without warning, coating sensitive instruments in grit and forcing delays, while everything was cleaned and recalibrated. The intense daytime heat caused electronic equipment to overheat and shut down, while the freezing temperatures at night made metal components brittle and prone to breaking. Power supplies fluctuated unpredictably, and communication lines would fail at critical moments. Some devices even began picking up strange magnetic interference emanating from deep below the mountain, disrupting signals in ways that the engineers found difficult to explain. Then something even more puzzling occurred. During one of the routine nighttime data recording sessions, the team noticed subtle vibrations running through the ground beneath their feet. Sound sensors picked up faint noises that did not correspond to any known type of geological movement or seismic activity. Some members of the team described the sounds as rhythmic and regular, almost like a slow, steady pulse or heartbeat. Others dismissed the readings as simple interference from the equipment, or perhaps distant tremors from elsewhere in the region. Still, the mysterious recordings added yet another layer of strangeness to an expedition that had already proven full of surprises. After months of careful preparation and planning, the moment finally arrived to breach the sealed chamber. The team drilled a narrow tunnel into the ancient structure, creating an opening just wide enough to accommodate a small robotic drone, equipped with high-definition cameras and environmental sensors. As the drone crossed the threshold and entered the sealed space, complete silence fell over the control tent where the team monitored its progress. On the screens before them, a large corridor appeared, constructed from smooth blocks of sandstone that seemed remarkably untouched by the passage of time. As the drone moved deeper into the passage, its lights revealed elaborate carvings on the walls. The images depicted scenes of light descending from the sky, figures kneeling in positions of worship, and what appeared to be tablets being handed down to men by beings from above. The further the drone traveled, the more obvious it became that there was no natural cave system. The level of craftsmanship was extraordinary and demonstrated engineering knowledge that seemed to exceed what was thought possible for ancient builders. The symmetry of the construction, the precise alignment of the stones, and the quality of the carved decorations all pointed to sophisticated planning and execution. The air inside the vault, as measured by the drone's sensors, was perfectly still and appeared to have been preserved in that state for countless centuries. Then came the first concrete evidence of direct human presence in the ancient past. The camera revealed sealed stone containers lined along the corridor walls. Some were decorated with thin edges of gold and featured tiny fragments of crystal embedded in their surfaces. When one of the robotic arms gently brushed the dusty floor, it revealed scattered pieces of what looked like carved gold fragments. There were also crystal-like objects attached to the walls that shimmered faintly when caught in the beam of the drone's light. As the data continued streaming back to the surface, the entire research world turned its attention towards Sinai. News of the discovery broke across every major media channel. Scientists had found a hidden structure beneath the sacred mountain, and images of the sealed vault spread rapidly around the globe. People everywhere watched with fascination and wonder. Historians called it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that could fundamentally change everything known about ancient civilization and religious history. For the team working on site, the moment was almost overwhelming. Some stood in stunned silence, staring at the monitors and unable to find words. Others frantically wrote notes, fully aware that they might be documenting findings that would rewrite textbooks and alter our understanding of the past. The atmosphere in the camp was a powerful mixture of scientific triumph and genuine awe, combined with an underlying feeling that they had uncovered something far greater than mere archaeology.